Hey everybody, welcome back. I didn't get to the food pantry this week because I got over being sick. I had to have a 3-hour diabetes test, and then now my husband's sick with a cold. So he is hanging out with baby, and we've been in the kitchen all day. Today I thought I would share with you some of the ways that I use some of the food pantry items. It's another day, real life, no makeup, pajamas, dogs running around, but let me show you what we did. So first of all, I'm going to take you this way, then we'll go that way. So my first thing wasn't super exciting. I just made some rice for the dogs for their dinner. It has brown rice, coconut oil, and then about half the pack of mushrooms that I had put in the food saver bags. So that's for them to go with their dinner this week. So that's not very exciting, but using up those mushrooms, using up some rice, that's for the pups. Let's go back over to the stove. Okay, the first thing we made were glazed donuts. And I made these with the Pillsbury Grands that we got. I just opened them up, cut out a circle in the top, and fried them up in some oil, and then made a glaze and glazed them. They're pretty good. They're a little bit salty. I think I might have added a little bit too much salt. Had a baby helper when I was making those. So I wasn't paying attention as much as I should have. But we got those done. They're really good. So easy. I never knew it was that easy to make donuts at home. Second thing we made, which not really food hall stuff, but just part of my prepping today. We're going to do sausages with potatoes and carrots for dinner one night this week. I usually have leeks in it. When I was a nanny for a family from France, this was like a staple meal for them, was boiled potatoes, carrots, and sausage. And I have some canned soup downstairs that I think I'll pop open with that, which will be good, really good for our sore throats. I got all the pineapple canned. Look at how great that looks. The 5 pineapples that I had bought, I got that canned. I didn't do that today. I'm not that ambitious. That was a couple days ago, but I got all that done. And then, sorry, I'm moving you around a lot. Last thing I did today was I made these burritos for the freezer, and baby's coming in less than 2 months. Probably like 6 weeks. So these just have a bunch of veggies in them, some sausage that was from the food pantry, tortillas from the food pantry, and then eggs from my chickens. So didn't have to go shopping or anything for anything like this. It was just throw whatever I had in the fridge, veggie wise. There's some potatoes and then a protein. So these will be really great to have on hand. And then I just rolled them in some saran wrap, and they'll go back in the freezer. And I think that's all I've made so far. Let me flip you back around. One second. I didn't flip you around. I totally stopped the video. So I thought what I would do is show you some meatballs that are really great for throwing in the freezer. And I want to make these up to have in the freezer for spaghetti and meatballs, meatball sandwiches, whatever after baby comes. Some of the items are from the food pantry. Sorry, I'm looking. Some are just stuff that I had. Some is from the discount store. But let's make these together real quick. And I will make them, shape them, and throw them in the freezer. And then they're good to go for an easy night's dinner. I have to apologize. My kitchen light bulb, one of them is out. So it's a little bit dark in here. But we're going to work with it, right? We're going to do what we have on my crazy kitchen counter. So these meatballs are going to be half pork, half beef. But first we're going to put all the other ingredients into the bowl, and then we'll add the meat in. So it calls for 3/4 cup of breadcrumbs or panko. And I have these. I actually bought a huge bag from Costco. Our Costco is one of the biggest Costco's in the United States, and it has a bunch of restaurant items. So for 20 bucks, I got, I think I put them in gallon containers, and I want to say it was like 10 gallons of breadcrumbs for 20 bucks, which is crazy. But so we've been eating these for probably a year now. I put in 3/4 cup of that. Then we're going to put in a half a cup of Parmesan. And now that I'm doing this, I realize that I have a whole bunch of the shelf-stable Parmesan on in my downstairs that I probably should have used, but we're not walking downstairs because we're lazy. Okay, so half a cup of Parmesan, 3/4 cup of breadcrumbs, salt to your liking, pepper to your liking, some red pepper flakes, because these are a spicy meatball, which is what makes them so good for sandwiches. We're going to do some mint. Mint is one of those spices I put in everything, and I think it just adds like a really good freshness without a lot of flavor. So some mint, some basil, of course, because that's one of my favorite condiments. I actually have some fresh basil in my fridge right now, but of course we're just going to use that. And then parsley. Okay, so we have all of our spices. And then we are going to put in 2 eggs. These are from my chickens. And I don't have roosters, so I don't worry about there potentially being a fertilized egg. I know some people open them in a different bowl, but I don't have that problem, so I just risk shells. So 2 eggs. And then today one of the things that I did in addition to all my cooking was I baked my shells for the chickens. I bake them at 400 degrees and then I crush them up because they're really good for the chickens to eat. They have a lot of calcium, but you don't want to give them to them whole because then they can potentially eat their eggs. So if you break them and crush them, they don't look like eggs, but it gives them all those nutrients. Fun fact. Okay, so I have my 2 eggs. We're going to do some garlic. You know we love a garlic meal. Plus it's a natural antiviral, which is really good when you're sick. Also, if you're sick, another fun fact. This stuff is amazing. I got it at Whole Foods a long time ago. It's kind of expensive, but my gosh, it works really well. It tastes like tree butthole, but it's so good for when you're sick. So that's out for my husband. Oh. Okay, slight interruption of a 10-year-old needing a drink. So we have all the garlic. We're going to do a splash of milk. And then I usually put ricotta cheese in, but I don't have any ricotta cheese, but I do have some cream cheese that I got at the discount store for $1, and I have some sour cream from the mobile pantry. So we mixed about 3 to 1 sour cream cheese to sour cream. So it was a little bit less than half of a cup of cream cheese, and then I substituted it to a half of a cup with sour cream. And then we're going to put that in there. The ricotta cheese really makes the meatballs so good, but I'm not going to the store for ricotta cheese when I can have something at home I can use. So let's mix this up. And these freeze so well. You can fry them or you can bake them. I would just take them out and let them thaw. But they're so quick to make. The longest part is probably letting them sit in the fridge to set. Which I don't know if I'll do since I'm just putting these all in the freezer. Okay, so we have that. Let me grab our meat. First meat I'm going to put in is the hot pork sausage from the discount store. This was only $1. So it's 1 pound of the pork sausage. And again, this is the hot pork sausage. So 1 pound of that. And then I have ground beef. I think this is a little bit over a pound. Oh my goodness, it's falling on the counter. But I don't know if this was from the cow we bought or if it was left over from my old roommate. But it was in the freezer. It was in the freezer, so we're using it. Okay. Now we're just going to mix this all together. I should probably not use my fingers. My fingers are clean though. Okay. So this thing is so amazing. I think I got it as in the as seen on TV section at Walmart, honestly, but the meat's a little bit frozen in the middle, which is why I'm using this. So if you were going to cook these now, you'd want them to set for about an hour in your fridge, just so they hold their shape before frying or baking or however you want to do it. Oops, sorry, I'm moving everything all around. My bowl is moving. Just gonna try to get this frozen part broken up and then I'll use my hands. You could even do meatballs with just a sauce over rice or something, like they do at IKEA. I don't know if you'd want a hot one. It'd probably be good still. Okay, so we're just gonna mix this all together. You might need to add a little bit more milk because I think I had a little bit more meat than usual. Am I just moving the camera all over? Oh my gosh, I'm trying to move it without touching it. I think we're going to add a little bit more milk, but let me wash my hands and we will do that. Okay, because I think that was 1.5 pounds of ground beef, I added a little bit more spices and a little bit more Parmesan cheese. And then we're going to add just a little bit more milk. And if you add stuff and it seems too wet, you can always add a little bit more breadcrumbs. Just trying to break up some of these. There's a little frozen pieces in there. They already smell really good with all those spices. So these are good. I'm just going to roll them up, and you can make them as big or as little as you want. I like to make them, I might need to add a little bit more breadcrumbs, but I like to make them probably right in the palm, about that size, because they're perfect on hoagie breads. So that's what I'm going to do with this. I'm just going to roll these up, and then I'm actually going to make a different dinner for tonight. We're going to do Korean ground beef, and look at this price, $2.50 in the clearance. It's been in my freezer, but when you find deals like this, stock up if you have the extra money. That's why I try to at least have a $10 budget if I can for groceries each month, or each week, I'm sorry, because if you go in the grocery store and you find a deal like that and you can grab one or two, do it, because ground Wagyu beef for $2.50 a pound And you just throw it in your freezer, and the next time you want something with ground beef, you have it, and you got it on a special or on a sale, and you don't have to run to the grocery store and spend $8 for a pound of ground beef, because I'm sure something like that cost $8 to $10. I'm sure that cost a lot. So shopping out of your pantry and shopping out of your freezers are a great way to save money. But sorry, little rant. I'm gonna roll these, and I will show you what they look like when we're done. So it wound up giving me 64 meatballs. I used my scooper so I could get them all about the same size, and then I just kind of rolled them a little bit. That's probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 mils, maybe even more depending, which is about $2 or less per meal, which is really great for your protein. So they are not frozen yet. I'm going to throw them in the freezer just on this tray on some parchment paper, and then when they're frozen, I'm going to put them in a bag and put them back in the freezer. And now we're prepped for a bunch of dinners after baby comes. Okay, like I said, for dinner, we're going to do the Korean ground beef bowls. So this is leftover from breakfast. It's just part of a bell pepper, some squash, onion, and then I have some cabbage. These are from the food pantry. They're shelled, so I'm just going to unshell them. And then I thought we could do these on the side. It's this teriyaki broccoli bites. These are also from the food pantry. And then I have some pickled carrots. It was my first time canning pickled carrots. And the food pantry gave me 35 pounds of carrots. So that's when I made these. So we'll put that on there. So we're using at least 3 items from the food pantry plus my clearance meat. This is going to be another really cheap dinner. Oh, and I have some leftover garlic from sometime at a restaurant. So I'm going to throw that in there. So I'm just going to chop everything up. I'm going to cook the vegetables differently. I probably am not going to cook the carrots because they're pickled. And obviously the broccoli is going to be cooked in the air fryer, and then I might saute the other stuff. So I'm going to chop everything and then I'll be right back. Okay, in my container, I'm going to leave this stuff raw. I have raw cabbage, the edamame, the pickled carrots, and cilantro. Whoops. They're kind of covering each other because there's a lot of cabbage, but that I'm going to put on top. I cut up some bell pepper and some onion that I'm going to stir fry a little bit. And this is onion and the ginger that I'm going to make a sauce out of for the meat. So I just have this little, can't see, little container. After we brown the meat, we'll put the sauce on. I realized that the cabbage was actually from the food pantry as well. So we're using a lot of stuff we got. All right, to the onion and ginger, I'm gonna add some garlic. I'm gonna add some soy sauce. Just finish off the bottle, it's empty. I'm going to add some rice vinegar. Going to add some oyster sauce. Hoisin sauce. Just a little bit of honey because we have all that tart stuff in there. And I got this from my co-op a long time ago. It's chili oil, but it's very hot. So I'm just going to add in pinch because the girl's eating it. Mix this up. Smells really good, but I'm gonna add a little bit of water to it. Just to thin it out a little bit. That water will cook down. And that is the sauce for the meat. All right, dinner tonight is gonna be these, and I'm just gonna throw them in the air fryer for like 10 minutes. I know this looks weird, but the family that I nannied for that was here on a contract from France, this was literally a meal they would eat. So there's 4 of us. So it's the sausage with boiled potatoes and carrots, pasta with sour cream and cheddar cheese. And then the soup is literally, you boil any vegetables you have in your fridge or wherever you keep your vegetables. You boil vegetables. And then you use an immersion blender and you blend it up. And it has a little bit of sour cream in it and a little bit of cheddar on top. And that's dinner. And we'll just put some salt and pepper. Out of everything we have, we got this from the mobile food pantry, the pasta from the mobile food pantry, the carrots from the food pantry, and probably some of the stuff in there as well. Okay, so we are just cooking stuff up. I have the meat on to brown. Then we'll add in the sauce we make, and I'm sauteing these veggies. My air fryer just went off, so we're gonna throw those broccoli in. And I'll be back with an update in a couple minutes. I'm just using a paper towel and a spoon to get out all the excess grease. So for the weird angle, I'm trying to hold my phone with my left hand and do this with my right. We don't want all that extra oil. Use a paper towel and let it soak up all the oil. Over here I have the vegetables with a little bit of oil. Let me get the rest of this grease out. Okay, I got most of the oil out. I should have probably just drained it. I'm going to put it in the sauce that we made. And we're just going to let this cook up, and our broccoli's almost done. And then I'll show you how it looks. So verdict on this, the sauce is kind of goopy, but we're going to go with it. That's the breaded broccoli. In my bowl, I just have rice that I already had cooked up for another meal this week, and then I have the shredded cabbage. And then I put the ground beef on top, and now we're just going to put all the other stuff around it. So I'm not sure what we did wrong with the sauce, but I think they still look good. Tasted okay. I put the fresh vegetables on, so we have the edamame, the pickled carrots, cilantro, and then we have those diced bell pepper that we sauteed. And then I just put a little bit of sesame seeds on the top with a little bit of sesame oil. And I think it's going to be really good. It smells good. So thanks for cooking with me all day. A lot of projects. I'm ready to eat. See you next time.